Welcome to Rise Beyond Average. Your destiny star will not be dimmed, it will not be swallowed, it will not be buried, it will not be exchanged, and it will not be silenced, for what God has planted in you cannot be extinguished by darkness, delayed by battles, destroyed by witchcraft, or diminished by the weight of your past. For when God ordains a star, no darkness can cover it permanently, no conspiracy can bury it forever, no delay can erase its assignment, and no enemy can hijack what has been written in the courts of heaven. Every destiny star God releases carries a mandate, an instruction, a heavenly code, and a spiritual identity. And your star, yes, your God-given star, is rising again, glowing again, strengthening again, recovering again, and breaking out of every cage of darkness that tried to swallow it. Because destiny stars may be attacked, but they cannot be erased. They may be fought, but they cannot be destroyed. They may be dimmed, but they cannot be switched off. And tonight, by divine authority, I declare that every force that tried to hide your star, bury your star, overshadow your star, or manipulate your star is losing its power over your life in the mighty name of Jesus Christ. For your star was designed to shine, to lead, to rise, to dominate, and to announce your divine purpose. And even if the journey has been long, even if the battles have been intense, even if the valleys have been deep, and even if the storms have been severe, your star is entering a season of supernatural restoration, supernatural brightness, supernatural elevation, and supernatural visibility. For the God who created you has not abandoned you. The God who called you has not forgotten you. The God who destined you has not changed his mind about you. And the God who positioned your star in the spiritual realms has not allowed the enemy to permanently cover what he ordained to shine. And every evil hand assigned to dim your star, every altar speaking against your star, every monitoring spirit watching your star, every projection sent to scatter your star, every dream attack meant to reverse your star, every evil calendar carrying your star, every witchcraft consultation mentioning your star, and every demonic agenda designed to divert your star is hereby overturned, scattered, reversed, and permanently dismantled by the consuming fire of God, because your star is not just light, it is prophecy, it is identity, it is purpose, it is destiny, and it is a divine announcement that cannot be muted by darkness. And for too long, the enemy tried to rewrite your story, hoping that delays would drain you, setbacks would weaken you, disappointments would silence you, betrayal would confuse you, stagnation would discourage you, and spiritual attacks would make you doubt who you are. But God says your season of hiding is over, your season of being overlooked is over, your season of being oppressed is over, your season of being fought without cause is over, and your star is stepping into the brightness of divine manifestation, because there is a light that darkness cannot understand, a brightness that witchcraft cannot handle, a glory that monitoring spirits cannot access, and a divine covering that evil altars cannot bypass. And today that covering is upon your life, that shield is upon your destiny, that fire is upon your star, and that divine protection is restoring everything the enemy tampered with, everything the enemy delayed, everything the enemy rewrote, and everything the enemy manipulated concerning your destiny. For the battles you have faced were not ordinary battles. The delays you experienced were not ordinary delays. The resistance you encountered was not ordinary resistance, and the attacks you fought were not ordinary attacks. They were all strategic attempts from the kingdom of darkness to hide the star that was destined to shine through you, because some people carry ordinary stars, but you carry a generational star, a prophetic star, a ruling star, a breaking through star, a star that announces greatness, and a star that carries a divine assignment that threatens the operations of darkness. And whenever someone carries a destiny star that is meant to lift families, restore bloodlines, break ancestral chains, and illuminate territories, the enemy often fights them early, fights them deeply, fights them consistently, and fights them violently, hoping they will surrender before they rise, quit before they shine, give up before manifestation, or die before destiny. But hear me well. The fact that you are still here, still standing, still breathing, still fighting, still praying, still rising, and still pushing is proof that your star cannot be extinguished. Your destiny cannot be aborted, your assignment cannot be stopped, and your purpose cannot be cancelled. Because what God planted in you is eternal, What God marked upon your life is irreversible. What God wrote concerning your destiny is unchangeable. And what God designed for your future is unstoppable. And every dark force that tried to dim your star, whether through dream attacks, spiritual cages, negative patterns, constant disappointments, emotional breakdowns, household wickedness, strange delays, cycles of rejection or sudden losses, is receiving divine judgment right now because the spiritual atmosphere over your life is shifting. The weight of darkness is lifting, the hold of oppression is breaking, the fog of confusion is clearing, and the star of your destiny is rising with a brightness that cannot be suppressed by demonic networks, satanic alliances, evil sacrifices, or witchcraft manipulations. And although the enemy tried to use people around you, friends, family, co-workers, partners, or even strangers, to fight your star, the Lord is reversing every human instrument the enemy used against you. He is exposing those who plotted in secret, silencing those who spoke against you, disconnecting you from those who drained your destiny, and elevating you beyond the reach of those who once thought they could dim your light. Because when God decides to make your star shine again, He does not need permission, approval, or acceptance from anyone. He shines it by mercy, by covenant, by fire, by grace, and by divine authority. And in this season, your star is not rising quietly, it is rising loudly, rising forcefully, rising undeniably, rising unshakably, and rising in a way that even your enemies will not be able to deny that God's hand is upon your life. And every area where your star was dimmed, your finances, your opportunities, your relationships, your influence, your spiritual life, your purpose, your health, your peace, your joy, God is restoring with double brightness, double honor, double strength, double clarity, and double favor. For the star that once seemed hidden is coming back in full glory, full power, full authority, and full divine backing. Because every destiny star goes through seasons of hiding, seasons of struggle, seasons of contention, seasons of spiritual warfare, seasons of confusion, seasons of stretching, seasons of pressure, and seasons of pruning. But none of these seasons are permanent, and none of them exist to destroy you. They exist to refine you, to strengthen you, to awaken you, to purify you, and to prepare you for the level of brightness required for the assignment ahead. For if your star was meant to shine ordinarily, the battles would be ordinary, but because your star carries a divine mandate to break ancient cycles, rewrite generational chapters, establish new spiritual realities, and lift people connected to your destiny, the enemy attempted to apply extraordinary pressure, hoping the intensity would crush you. But instead of crushing you, it built you. Instead of destroying you, it awakened you. Instead of weakening you, it strengthened you. Instead of burying you, it positioned you. And now your star is rising with a resilience the enemy never saw coming, with a fire the enemy cannot quench, with a clarity the enemy cannot distort, and with a spiritual authority the enemy cannot withstand. Because God has entered the matter, heaven has stepped into the battle, angels have been dispatched on your behalf, and divine power has surrounded your destiny in a way that even spiritual eyes in the realm of darkness will see and tremble. For every evil altar that gathered to dim your star is scattering by fire. Every spiritual projector that sent confusion your way is breaking apart. Every monitoring spirit assigned to track your progress is blinded permanently. Every evil mirror used to watch your star is shattered beyond repair. Every astral attack is reversed. Every dream manipulation is burned by divine flames. Every spiritual padlock is melting, and every cage built around your glory is breaking open with force, because the hand of God is now resting upon your destiny star like a shield of lightning, like a wall of fire, like a covering of glory, and like a throne-backed authority that cannot be challenged. And even though life pushed you, people failed you, seasons tested you, and darkness tried you, God preserved you, God kept you, God defended you, God hid you, God sustained you, and God reserved a place for you in the chapter of greatness that your star was designed to illuminate. And now the spiritual realm is shifting in your favor. The heavenly calendar concerning your destiny is being updated. The book of your purpose is being reopened. The fire of restoration is being poured, and the star of your destiny is accelerating out of every pit, every shadow, every limitation, every barrier, and every evil cloud that tried to cover it. Because what God has ordained for you is entering manifestation mode, and nothing can stop it. Not witchcraft, not jealousy, not monitoring spirits, not spiritual wickedness, not household altars, not dream robbers, not destiny thieves, not generational battles, not timelines, not delays, and not any satanic verdict issued against your rising. Because when God decides to make a destiny star rise again, He does not negotiate with darkness. He does not seek permission from those who doubted you. He does not consult those who fought you, and He does not inform those who tried to bury you. He simply commands light. He commands elevation. He commands restoration. He commands visibility. He commands favor. And He commands breakthrough. And just as the star of the wise men led them to Jesus, your star is carrying people, opportunities, breakthroughs, connections, and divine helpers who have been waiting for your rising. Because destiny stars do not shine for themselves alone. They shine to lead people out of darkness, to announce divine assignments, to break generational curses, to open spiritual gates, to expose hidden blessings, and to align destinies. And every time your star rises, something in the atmosphere changes. Something in the spiritual world shifts. Something in the unseen realm trembles. And something in the kingdom of darkness breaks. Because your rising is not just personal, it is generational, prophetic, and divinely orchestrated. And the enemy knows that once your star shines fully, the chains he used to bind your family will break. The patterns he used to trap your bloodline will collapse. The cycles he used to keep people small will end. The curses he used to recycle failure will dissolve. And the spiritual doors he used to keep closed will burst open, which is why he tried everything to dim your star. Attacking your mind, draining your strength, weakening your confidence, disconnecting your helpers, shutting your doors, delaying your breakthroughs, and surrounding you with discouragement. But even all that was not enough to kill what God planted in you, because divine destiny is indestructible, and the star inside you is not powered by people, not powered by connections, not powered by money, not powered by applause, and not powered by approval. It is powered by God, fueled by purpose, sustained by grace, protected by fire, and activated by the Holy Spirit. And for that reason, every attack against you has failed. Every plan against you has collapsed. Every weapon against you has misfired. Every trap against you has been exposed. And every evil meeting mentioning your name has scattered into confusion. And now, in this season, the light of your star is intensifying, expanding, enlarging, and magnifying beyond the reach of every enemy who once thought they could dictate your destiny, because the brightness God is restoring to your star is not the brightness you once had. It is greater, louder, stronger, deeper, higher, and more powerful than anything you have encountered before, for this is not the restoration of the old you, this is the rising of the transformed you, the awakened you, the refined you, the spiritually sharpened you, the fire-filled you, and the destiny-aligned you. And everything that once intimidated you will soon fear you. Everything that once oppressed you will soon bow. Everything that once delayed you will soon accelerate you. And everything that once fought your star will soon witness your rising. For when God lifts a destiny star, He lifts it beyond attack range, beyond enemy access, beyond witchcraft manipulation, and beyond spiritual interference. And even now, angels are repositioning things on your behalf, shifting atmospheres, aligning timings, restoring lost years, releasing long-delayed answers, dismantling witchcraft operations, reversing demonic exchanges, uprooting satanic plots, correcting spiritual imbalances, and re-establishing your divine identity in the realms of the Spirit. Because even the heavens recognize the rising of a destiny star that has survived storms, survived arrows, survived betrayals, survived delays, survived rejection, survived witchcraft, survived spiritual ambush, survived silent battles, survived long nights, survived emotional wounds, survived loneliness, survived confusion, and survived seasons where nothing made sense. For the star that survives warfare becomes unstoppable in manifestation, and the person who survives spiritual battles becomes unshakable in destiny. And you, yes you, are stepping into that realm where nothing the enemy does can reverse God's decision concerning your rising, because your star has been refined through fire, strengthened through trials, purified through hardship, sharpened through warfare, and lifted through affliction, and now it carries an authority that can never be stolen, an identity that can never be confused, a purpose that can never be sabotaged, and a brightness that can never be dimmed again. Every evil voice that once spoke against your progress, voices saying you won't rise, voices saying you won't succeed, voices saying you won't break through, voices saying you won't recover, voices saying you won't shine again. Those voices have been silenced by the voice of God declaring, "Arise, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord is risen upon you." And this glory is not partial, not temporary, not seasonal, and not weak. It is a consuming glory, a victorious glory, a destiny-activating glory, and a restoration glory that burns away darkness, burns away limitations, burns away stagnation, burns away manipulation, and burns away every evil veil that was cast over your star. And as this glory rises upon you, every hidden helper assigned to your destiny is beginning to locate you. Every closed door is beginning to open. Every delayed opportunity is beginning to surface. Every spiritual blockage is beginning to dissolve. Every monitoring spirit is beginning to flee. Every evil pattern is beginning to scatter. And every destiny thief is losing the ability to track or trace your star, because God Himself has overshadowed your rising with a brightness that blinds the enemy, confuses the wicked, frustrates the proud, and dismantles the plans of those who conspired in silence. And even now, as your star gains strength, the spiritual realm is rearranging itself. Altars that spoke against you are collapsing. Covenants formed against you are breaking. Sacrifices made to bury your glory are being judged. Charms used to misdirect your destiny are losing power. Networks of witchcraft assigned to your name are scattering, and demonic timelines written against your rising are being erased by the blood of Jesus. Because your destiny star has entered a divine season where darkness no longer has a legal right to touch your purpose, manipulate your path, or interfere with your progress. And the same God who caused Joseph's star to rise in a foreign land, who caused David's star to rise out of obscurity, who caused Esther's star to rise from captivity, who caused Daniel's star to rise in Babylon, and who caused the star of the wise men to appear at the birth of Jesus, that same God is now causing your star to rise with divine authority and undeniable glory. For your rising is not by chance, not by luck, not by accident, and not by coincidence, but by the force of divine prophecy that has been waiting, yes, waiting, to manifest in your life. Because prophecy does not expire, divine purpose does not weaken, spiritual identity does not fade, and destiny stars do not die. They may be fought, but they cannot be erased, and even if darkness covers the earth, your star will still find its way through, because divine light is not intimidated by demonic shadows, and heavenly purpose is not threatened by earthly obstacles. And for every season where your star looked dim, for every moment where you felt invisible, for every battle that made you question your calling, for every disappointment that weakened your confidence, for every setback that made you feel behind, for every attack that shook your heart, and for every night where tears seemed louder than hope, God was not silent, God was not absent, and God was not ignoring you. He was watching, He was defending, He was shielding, He was preparing, He was pruning, He was training, and He was building a version of you that darkness could never destroy. And now that season of construction is ending, and the season of manifestation is beginning, because God never allows a destiny star to remain hidden forever. He hides it only long enough to protect it, long enough to strengthen it, long enough to prepare it, and long enough to make its rising undeniable, unchallengeable, and unstoppable. And what the enemy thought was your end was actually your preparation. What the enemy thought was your destruction was actually your elevation. And what the enemy thought was your burial was actually your planting. Because destiny stars are never buried permanently. They sprout, they rise, they grow, they expand, they radiate, and they return with a brightness so intense that it invalidates every dark season you ever lived through. And now, every tear you cried is becoming fuel for your rising. Every night you endured is becoming oil for your star. Every betrayal you survived is becoming strength for your journey. Every disappointment you healed from is becoming testimony for your future. And every spiritual attack you overcame is becoming fire for your destiny. Because you are not emerging as the same person. You are emerging as someone the enemy cannot intimidate, cannot manipulate, cannot discourage, and cannot derail. For your spirit has been fortified, your discernment has been sharpened, your faith has been strengthened, and your spiritual authority has been magnified by the battles you overcame. And now the brightness of your destiny star is not just returning, it is overflowing, increasing, intensifying, and shining in dimensions you have never experienced. Because this rising is not powered by effort, it is powered by grace, not powered by people. It is powered by God, not powered by connections. It is powered by covenant, not powered by chance. It is powered by prophecy. And every attack that once sought to limit you is now becoming a stepping stone that confirms your divine rising. Because the God who formed your star has now decreed its manifestation. And the moment God decrees, nothing can reverse, delay, edit, or cancel that decree. And even now, spiritual chains are breaking, evil patterns are dissolving, ancestral limitations are collapsing, hidden traps are scattering, demonic verdicts are being reversed, witchcraft assignments are catching fire, and every evil hand stretched against your destiny is withering under the judgment of heaven, because your star has been reclaimed, redeemed, restored, revived, reignited, and repositioned for divine excellence, divine favor, divine breakthrough, divine expansion, and divine visibility. And you are stepping into a dimension where your rising will shock those who overlooked you, silence those who doubted you, confuse those who fought you, and inspire those who are connected to your destiny. For your star is entering a season where everything begins to align, doors begin to open, paths begin to clear, helpers begin to appear, answers begin to manifest, peace begins to settle, clarity begins to flow, and greatness begins to unfold effortlessly. Because God is now bringing you into the chapter of destiny He wrote before the foundations of the world, because everything God promised you is still alive. Everything written about you is still valid. Everything spoken over you is still active. Everything destined for you is still waiting. And everything tied to your star is still intact in the spiritual realm, preserved by divine mercy, protected by covenant fire, and guarded by angels who refuse to allow darkness to rewrite what heaven has ordained. And even if years passed, even if seasons changed, even if delays piled up, even if discouragement tried to consume you, none of those things killed your destiny. For purpose is stronger than pain, calling is stronger than crisis, prophecy is stronger than attack, and destiny is stronger than delays. And the reason your star is rising again is because the assignment connected to you cannot be fulfilled by anyone else. You were chosen, you were marked, you were appointed, you were authorized, and you were spiritually positioned to carry what others could not carry, endure what others could not endure, survive what others could not survive, and rise where others would have fallen. And even when you felt forgotten, heaven did not forget you. Even when you felt abandoned, God did not abandon you. Even when you felt unseen, your star was still shining in the spiritual realm. Even when you felt broken, your destiny was still intact. Even when you felt weak, divine strength was still working behind the scenes. And now the same God who watched over you in silence is about to manifest loudly, visibly, undeniably, and gloriously in your life, lifting your star, restoring your glory, renewing your strength, expanding your territory, and releasing your destiny into realms you once thought were unreachable. Because destiny stars do not shine in the same dimension forever. They evolve, they ascend, they intensify, they multiply, and they enter new layers of brightness as God moves His children from glory to glory, power to power, favor to favor, and purpose to purpose. And the brightness your star is entering in this season will not resemble the brightness of your past. It will be greater, stronger, wider, heavier, and more impactful, because this time your rising is not coming from effort alone. It is coming from alignment with divine timing, divine favor, divine restoration, and divine elevation. And everything that once made your journey hard, every spiritual resistance, every demonic interception, every emotional wound, every cycle of stagnation, every attack in your dreams, every strange delay, every closed door, every unexpected betrayal, God is now turning all of it into spiritual fuel for your rising. Because nothing in your life was wasted, nothing in your journey was meaningless, nothing in your pain was accidental, and nothing you suffered was in vain. For God uses everything, every tear, every prayer, every disappointment, every heartbreak, every delay, every betrayal, every loss, every lesson, to build the version of you that can carry the weight of the destiny He designed. And now, because you endured, because you held on, because you kept believing, because you kept fighting, because you refused to collapse under the weight of warfare, heaven is rewarding you with a rising that will embarrass the enemy, silence mockers, shock those who doubted you, elevate you before those who rejected you, and place you in realms where only God can take the glory. And even now, your spiritual star is breaking through every cloud, every covering, every veil, every shadow, every limitation, every blockage, every enchantment, and every accusation the enemy tried to place over your destiny, because the fire of God is surrounding your star with such force that anything sent to dim it is burning instantly under divine judgment. And this rising will not be temporary. This rising will be sustained, established, grounded, and unstoppable, because God is not just lifting you, He is stabilizing you, He is securing your victory, He is sealing your breakthrough, and He is protecting your manifestation with the same fire that defended Daniel, the same favor that raised Joseph, the same boldness that empowered David, and the same glory that followed Esther into her purpose. For your destiny star is now entering its divinely appointed hour, where nothing can stop what God is unveiling, nothing can hinder what God is activating, nothing can reverse what God is releasing, and nothing can dim what God has ignited within you. Because when a destiny star rises after being attacked, it does not rise the same way it fell. It rises stronger, louder, brighter, purer, and more dangerous to the kingdom of darkness. For the enemy is always terrified of someone who survived what was meant to destroy them, someone who overcame battles designed to break them, someone who stood firm after storms meant to swallow them, someone who kept praying when others expected them to quit, someone who kept believing when circumstances were screaming otherwise, and someone who carried their wounds into the presence of God instead of into the hands of the enemy. And you are that person, the one who survived what others would have surrendered to, the one who kept walking while carrying silent tears, the one who kept fighting battles no one knew about, the one who kept pushing through spiritual warfare that tried to suffocate your destiny, the one who kept standing even when your strength was gone. And now heaven has judged your perseverance worthy of elevation, worthy of restoration, worthy of divine help, worthy of breakthrough, and worthy of a rising that will rewrite your story permanently. And the star inside you is not returning as it was before. It is returning with new authority, new grace, new boldness, new clarity, new fire, new divine backing, and new spiritual covering. Because the version of you that is emerging has outgrown the traps of yesterday, outgrown the fears of yesterday, outgrown the doubts of yesterday, outgrown the wounds of yesterday, and outgrown the limitations of yesterday. And this new version of you is a destiny carrier with heightened discernment, sharpened spiritual vision, elevated wisdom, and divine empowerment that makes you too strong for past cycles to reclaim, too bright for past battles to dim, too grounded for past distractions to deceive, and too anointed for past enemies to manipulate. And every force that once operated against you is losing access. Every witchcraft assignment is breaking. Every monitoring spirit is blinded. Every spiritual thief is arrested. Every destiny blocker is dismantled. Every evil pronouncement is overturned. Every ancestral limitation is shattered. And every demonic timeline is erased by the higher authority of God's decree over your life. For the rising of your star is not happening quietly. Heaven is announcing it. Angels are enforcing it. The Holy Spirit is empowering it. And the voice of God is declaring it. And when God declares a rising, no darkness can undo it. And you are stepping into a season where God is going to make you remember why He kept you alive, why He preserved you, why He hid you, why He strengthened you, why He allowed certain battles, and why He delayed certain blessings. Because everything is aligning now. Everything is coming together now. Everything is manifesting now. Everything is breaking open now. And everything is shifting in your favor now. And even the things that once confused you will soon make sense. The prayers you prayed in pain will soon become testimonies you share with joy. The seeds you planted in tears will soon return as harvests of laughter. And the nights you endured in silence will soon become seasons of celebration. Because the God who allowed you to walk through darkness is now commanding your star to shine so brightly that even the shadows that once threatened you will disappear completely, for divine light does not negotiate with darkness, it replaces it. And no matter who doubted you, who betrayed you, who mocked you, who left you, who underestimated you, who fought you, or who tried to pull you down, they will not be able to stop what God is doing now, because your rising is protected by covenant, powered by prophecy, sealed by purpose, and fueled by divine fire that cannot be quenched by anything created, anything spoken, anything planned, or anything attempted by the enemy. And this rising will stretch you, surprise you, elevate you, reposition you, honor you, and restore you in ways that will make you fall on your knees in awe of God's faithfulness. Because your destiny star is not just shining again, it is becoming a beacon for others, a testimony to many, a warning to darkness, and a confirmation of God's unstoppable hand on your life. For your destiny star is now entering a divine phase where no darkness can overshadow it, no enemy can intercept it, no witchcraft can dim it, no jealousy can cloud it, no monitoring spirit can track it, no ancestral battle can silence it, and no human limitation can choke it, because the brightness God is releasing upon your life is not ordinary brightness, it is covenant brightness, restoration brightness, supernatural brightness, and divinely sanctioned brightness that breaks barriers, shifts atmospheres, opens gates, lifts mantles, and awakens everything inside you that had been suppressed by seasons of warfare. And in this moment, heaven is releasing a decree over your life that everything connected to your star must rise, everything tied to your purpose must align, everything written in your book of destiny must manifest, and everything the enemy tried to delay must accelerate, because the season where you were hidden for protection has expired, and the season where you will shine for impact has begun, and the God who watched you cry silently is now preparing a table before you openly. The God who saw your pain privately is now giving you honor publicly. And the God who listened to your midnight prayers is now lifting your destiny into a place where those who once ignored you will see your rising and glorify Him. For your star is not rising timidly, not rising gradually, but rising forcefully, rising prophetically, rising dominantly, and rising in a dimension thick with God's glory. And this glory will not leave you the same, for it comes with strength you have never carried, peace you have never known, favor you have never experienced, clarity you have never seen, and opportunities you once believed were out of reach, but now they are within reach because your spiritual identity is being re-announced in the realms of the Spirit. And heaven is broadcasting your destiny signal to every helper, every destiny connector, every divine partner, every open door, and every platform assigned to your rising. And God is breaking you out of spiritual prisons that were established before you were born, prisons created by ancestral covenants, by negative patterns, by household wickedness, by early disappointments, by spiritual attacks from childhood, by environments that misunderstood your calling, and by battles you faced without understanding why they were so intense. But now you understand. The intensity was proof of the greatness inside you. The warfare was proof of your prophetic identity. The pressure was proof of your spiritual assignment. And the attacks were proof that darkness perceived your potential long before you did. And now that you have survived what was supposed to end you, God is elevating you into a realm where the enemy cannot follow, into a level where jealousy cannot stop you, into a dimension where witchcraft cannot touch you, and into a spiritual height where only the voice of God can direct your steps, because you are stepping into a chapter that was written for after the storm, a chapter that was reserved for after the battle, a chapter designed for after the pruning, and that chapter is titled, Your Destiny. Star will not be dimmed. It will shine again, and as this star rises, every delay is dissolving, every stagnation is breaking, every confusion is clearing, every barrier is falling, every evil trap is backfiring, every monitoring agent is blinded, every wicked plot is reversed, every dark shadow is scattering, and every satanic decree is cancelled, because God has stepped into your timeline with judgment for your enemies and mercy for your destiny, and no force in existence can resist the hand of God once He has stretched it out over a life. And His hand is stretched out over you now, lifting you, guiding you, empowering you, restoring you, defending you, reviving you, and propelling you into the fullness of your divine assignment. Because when God restores a destiny star, He does not restore it to the level it once operated in. He restores it beyond, above, ahead, and outside the range of every enemy that once fought it. And this is why the star rising inside you now is not the same star you carried years ago. This is a refined star, a battle-tested star, a purified star, a matured star, a spiritually reinforced star, and a divinely upgraded star that carries weight in the spirit realm. A star that announces your arrival, a star that seals your identity, a star that confirms your calling, a star that breaks the silence of your previous season, a star that exposes every lie spoken against you, and a star that shines with the brilliance of someone who has walked through the valley of shadows but did not die there, because God preserved you even when you didn't understand why. He defended you even when you didn't feel it. He carried you even when you thought you were alone, and he hid you even when you thought he was hiding from you, when in truth he was hiding you for your appointed time. And now your appointed time is approaching with speed, with weight, with fire, with glory, with purpose, and with divine acceleration that will cause everything around you to shift dramatically, because when a destiny star enters its manifestation season, every spiritual gate connected to it responds. Every divine helper assigned to it awakens. Every opportunity tied to it begins to move, and every enemy that once fought it falls under divine judgment. For this is not just a season of rising, this is a season of divine rearrangement where God is reordering your steps, repositioning your relationships, removing wrong people, restoring stolen time, reconnecting you to your spiritual identity, and realigning you with the destiny blueprint written over your life before you were formed in your mother's womb. And this rising is not happening in the natural first. It is happening in the spiritual realms, where angels are clearing paths, opening doors, strengthening your foundation, releasing scrolls of destiny, breaking seals that once blocked your advancement, and empowering your star to radiate with the kind of brightness that signals heaven's authority. Because your rising is not powered by human opinion, but by God's decree. And once God decrees a rising, there is no demon strong enough, no witchcraft deep enough, no jealousy loud enough, no hatred fierce enough, no monitoring spirit vigilant enough, and no human resistance stubborn enough to stop what heaven has authorized. And everything the enemy thought he damaged is being repaired by God. Everything the enemy delayed is being accelerated by God. Everything the enemy stole is being restored by God. Everything the enemy closed is being reopened by God. And everything the enemy used to shame you is becoming a testimony that will elevate you, because what you survived is now becoming the foundation of your rising. And the pain you endured is now becoming the oil that fuels your destiny. And people will look at you and wonder how you survived what was meant to bury you, how you kept walking when the weight was too heavy, how you kept believing when the future looked impossible, how you kept praying when nothing seemed to change, how you stayed faithful when life felt unfair, how you stayed standing when storms kept coming, and how you are rising now despite everything that was sent to break you. And you will say, it was God. Because truly it was God's hand, God's mercy, God's covering, God's favor, God's protection, and God's relentless love that shielded your star until this appointed moment of manifestation arrived, and every chain that once held you is breaking, every cage that once confined you is opening, every darkness that once surrounded you is dissolving, every voice that once discouraged you is silenced, every weight that once limited you is lifting, and every enemy that once followed you is losing your trail, because your star is rising into a height where darkness cannot climb, into a dimension where witchcraft cannot operate, into a realm where spiritual attacks cannot penetrate, and into a territory where only God's promises can speak. And in this territory, your destiny is safe, your identity is secure, your path is clear, your purpose is awakened, and your rising is inevitable. And the more your star rises, the more chains break around you, the more patterns shatter, the more blessings connect, the more favor aligns, the more purpose activates, and the more the fire of God burns away everything that was never meant to accompany you into your new chapter. For God is not just elevating you, He is purifying you, preparing you, protecting you, and positioning you for greatness you have not even imagined yet. Because your rising is not accidental, not coincidental, not circumstantial, and not seasonal. It is divine, intentional, prophetic, inevitable, and unstoppable. For God has waited for the appointed moment to lift you in such a way that every past delay will make sense. Every past disappointment will be redeemed, every closed door will be justified, and every silent season will reveal its purpose, because God does not waste pain. He does not waste tears. He does not waste battles. He does not waste waiting, and He does not waste process. Every valley you passed through was shaping your humility. Every mountain you climbed was strengthening your spirit. Every storm you survived was sharpening your discernment. Every loss you endured was purifying your dependence on God, and every spiritual attack you overcame was confirming your identity in the spirit realm. And now all these pieces are coming together as your destiny star begins to rise with an intensity that will shock those who thought your journey was over, surprise those who believed you were finished, silence those who mocked your setbacks, and humble those who secretly wished for your failure, because God is about to reveal the version of you that darkness fought for years, the version of you that pain tried to bury, the version of you that witchcraft tried to manipulate, the version of you that betrayal tried to break, and the version of you that delays tried to suffocate. And now that version is emerging with divine fire in your spirit, divine oil on your head, divine strength in your bones, divine clarity in your mind, and divine boldness in your voice, because God is no longer hiding you. He is presenting you, positioning you, promoting you, and propelling you into realms where only those appointed by heaven can stand. And as your star rises, the Lord is sending angels to guide your steps, protect your journey, establish your path, and remove obstacles before they even appear, because your destiny is too important to be derailed by traps, distractions, or schemes of the enemy, and God Himself is ensuring that everything connected to your rising is secured, defended, and supported by divine intervention. And in this rising, God will cause kings to favor you, gates to open for you, territories to welcome you, opportunities to chase you, people to honor you, and circumstances to align for you, because the spiritual realm has recognized your star's activation, and everything tied to your name is now moving in accordance with heaven's timing. And this time, you will not rise only to fall again. You will not shine only to be dimmed again. You will not progress only to be pulled back again, because God is sealing your rising with permanence, stability, and divine covering, ensuring that the same battles that drained you in the past will never have access to you again, and the same darkness that once hovered over your destiny will never have permission to return, and even the gates that once resisted you are now commanded to open, the doors that once refused you are now commanded to lift, and the people who once overlooked you are now commanded to remember you, because heaven is announcing your season of visibility, your time of divine recognition, and your hour of supernatural elevation. And everything connected to your rising is accelerating. Your purpose is accelerating. Your influence is accelerating. Your breakthroughs are accelerating. Your opportunities are accelerating. Your spiritual authority is accelerating. Your restoration is accelerating. And your destiny fulfillment is accelerating with a speed that can only come from God, because God is determined to show you that He never forgot you, He never abandoned you, He never overlooked you, and He never changed His mind about you. And for every year the enemy attempted to steal from you, God is giving back restoration. For every tear the enemy caused you to cry, God is giving joy. For every battle the enemy sent to weary you, God is giving strength. And for every loss the enemy tried to cause, God is releasing divine compensation that will overflow into every area of your life. And this rising is not just about recovering what was lost. It is about stepping into what was always promised, embracing what was always ordained, receiving what was always yours, and walking into the fullness of who God created you to be. Because your destiny star is not returning to its former brightness. It is rising into a dimension of glory that you have never experienced before. Because the hand of God that is lifting you now is not the hand of partial restoration. It is the hand of total restoration, complete elevation, unstoppable breakthrough, and irreversible rising. For when God begins a lifting, no power can bring you down, and when He ignites a destiny star, no darkness can cover it again. And this rising you are stepping into will not resemble anything you have ever seen. It will be wide, deep, strong, shocking, undeniable, and divinely orchestrated. For heaven has decided that your years of silence have expired, your years of struggle have ended, your years of waiting have reached their close, and your years of manifestation have begun. And everything connected to you is responding to this shift. Your name is being announced in rooms you have never entered. Your destiny is being mentioned in places you have never been. Your favor is traveling where your feet have not yet walked. Your star is shining in realms you have not yet accessed, and your purpose is echoing in atmospheres that once ignored you. Because when God rises over a person, their influence expands beyond geographical boundaries, beyond human limitations, beyond past failures, and beyond every previous season that once held them back. And the enemy, who once comforted himself thinking you were finished, will now be forced to watch as God rewrites your story, rebuilds your life, restores your dignity, and re-establishes your purpose in the presence of those who doubted you. For this rising carries the fragrance of divine justice, divine compensation, and divine vindication. The kind where God says, I saw it all, I counted it all, I recorded it all, and now I will reward it all, because nothing you endured was invisible to heaven, and nothing you survived was forgotten by God. And the star rising inside you is exposing every lie that was spoken over your life, breaking every label that was placed on your identity, destroying every negative word that tried to shape your future, and cancelling every evil prophecy that the enemy attempted to plant against your destiny, because God alone has the final say. God alone has the final signature, God alone has the final decree, and God alone has the final authority over your rising. And as this star rises, you will notice that certain things no longer affect you. Burdens that once crushed you will have no weight. Fears that once gripped you will lose their power. Voices that once discouraged you will fade into silence, and battles that once defeated you will now collapse before you, because the level you are stepping into carries too much glory for old enemies to follow, too much fire for old patterns to survive, too much favor for old traps to function, and too much divine covering for old attacks to penetrate. For God is elevating you into a dimension where your peace will be untouchable, your joy will be unbreakable, your progress will be unstoppable, and your destiny will be undeniable, because this rising has been sealed by the blood of Jesus, anchored by divine covenant, protected by angelic presence, and confirmed by the voice of God himself. And this time you will rise without fear, without hesitation, without confusion, without shrinking, without apologizing, and without doubting yourself again, because God has settled your identity, clarified your purpose, strengthened your spirit, sharpened your discernment, healed your wounds, and restored your value in ways that will make you walk boldly, speak boldly, pray boldly, stand boldly, and shine boldly as the child of God that you are. And this brightness will not only bless you, it will bless your family, bless your lineage, bless your generation, bless your environment, bless your connections, and bless everyone aligned with your destiny, because your rising is not personal, it is generational. And the light God is releasing upon your star will illuminate paths for others who never believed they could rise again. For your testimony will become their hope, your rising will become their sign, your breakthrough will become their encouragement, and your transformation will become their evidence that God still restores stars that have been dimmed. And as you rise, even the spiritual realm is adjusting itself, altars are collapsing, covenants are breaking, shadows are scattering, barriers are melting, chains are falling, and everything that once held your star captive is releasing you completely, because heaven has issued a command that your destiny must shine without obstruction, without limitation, and without interference in this season. And nothing can contradict what God has spoken concerning your life, because when God announces a rising, the entire universe responds, time responds, seasons respond, creation responds, the spiritual world responds, and even your enemies respond, not by stopping the rising, but by being forced to witness that they failed to stop what God ordained. And now everything connected to your rising is entering divine acceleration, because your destiny has waited long enough, your spirit has fought long enough, your heart has endured long enough, and heaven has positioned you long enough. And now the fullness of time has arrived, the moment God marked on his heavenly calendar as the season where your destiny star must shine in power, purity, and glory. And this rising will not be quiet, it will not be subtle, it will not be hidden, because God is using your life as a public display of his faithfulness, his justice, his mercy, and his sovereignty, proving to every watching force, both human and spiritual, that no one can bury what he has chosen to rise, no one can dim what he has chosen to illuminate, and no one can silence what he has chosen to announce. And everything that once made you feel small, made you feel forgotten, made you feel defeated, or made you feel unworthy is being reversed, erased, uprooted, and overwritten by the divine identity God is restoring within you, because this rising is not just outward, it is inward. It is reshaping your confidence, rebuilding your courage, renewing your strength, reviving your spirit, and reawakening the greatness God placed in you before you were born. For there are things inside you that have been sleeping for years. Dreams, gifts, abilities, visions, ideas, passions, anointings, and all of them are being awakened now as your destiny star increases in brightness. Because God cannot allow your rising to happen while parts of your destiny are still dormant, and every gift that was blocked is being unblocked, every talent that was buried is being restored, every vision that was delayed is being revived, every calling that was attacked is being reignited, and every potential that was suffocated by fear, pain, or spiritual warfare is being activated again by the breath of God. For when he breathes upon a star, it shines with a radiance no darkness can compete with. And as you rise, relationships will shift, because your rising is not happening by chance, it is happening by covenant, by appointment, by prophecy, and by divine orchestration. And every day from now, you will see signs of this rising, small signs, big signs, surprising signs, quiet signs, loud signs, but signs nevertheless, confirming that God's hand is upon your life in a way that cannot be explained by human reasoning or natural logic, because your rising is supernatural, and everything supernatural leaves a trace of God's fingerprint, and every area of your life that felt dry, dead, stagnant, or hopeless will now experience resurrection, because when a destiny star shines again, it breathes life into everything connected to it: relationships, opportunities, finances, ideas, spiritual fire, creativity, wisdom, and influence will all experience supernatural revival as God breathes upon you. And the testimony he will write through your rising will silence every doubt, every lie, every insult, every attack, every mockery, and every evil expectation that was spoken over your life, because God is not only proving your enemies wrong, he is proving himself faithful, proving his covenant unbreakable, proving his promises reliable, and proving his word unstoppable. For every rising ordained by God carries a dimension of glory that forces both heaven and earth to acknowledge his sovereignty, and your rising will carry such magnitude that even those who doubted you will be compelled to admit that only God could lift you this way, only God could restore you this far, only God could open such doors for you, only God could wipe your tears so completely, and only God could turn your pain into power, your battles into breakthroughs, your wounds into wisdom, your storms into strength, and your delays into divine appointments, and every area of your life that once looked like a dead end will become a display of resurrection power, because the God who lifts you is not only raising your destiny star, he is resurrecting everything connected to it: your passion, your purpose, your spiritual vision, your hope, your courage, your creativity, your determination, and your divine assignment. And as your star rises, it will pull up everything that was meant to rise with you. Every gift, every calling, every idea, every mission, every divine relationship, every spiritual mantle, every divine opportunity for stars do not rise in isolation. They carry entire destinies with them. And your rising will trigger the rising of many behind you. And the enemy knows this, which is why he fought you so aggressively, so consistently, and so violently, because he knew that your rising would not only free you, it would free everyone connected to you, everyone who looks to you, everyone who learns from you, and everyone whose breakthrough is tied to your obedience and survival. But what the enemy feared the most has begun. Your rising has started, your strength has returned, your purpose has awakened, your star has broken through the darkness, and your destiny is shining with an authority he cannot tamper with, because God has placed a hedge around your rising that cannot be crossed, a fire around your destiny that cannot be extinguished, and an anointing on your star that cannot be countered. And now everything that once intimidated you will become small before you. Everything that once burdened you will become light behind you, and everything that once fought you will lose its power beneath you, because you are stepping into a dimension where you will walk with confidence, Speak with authority, rise with boldness, and shine with divine assurance, not confidence in yourself, but confidence in the God who never left your side, the God who fought for you, the God who sustained you, the God who preserved you, and the God who waited for the right moment to elevate you. And into this rising, the voice of God will be louder in your spirit, the guidance of God clearer in your path, the peace of God deeper in your heart, and the presence of God stronger around your life. And no demon, no witch, no altar, no curse, no monitoring spirit, no jealous enemy, and no hidden adversary will be able to interfere with your rising, because the glory covering your star is too thick, too bright, too powerful, and too divine to be dimmed again, and your rising will not resemble a slow climb. It will resemble divine acceleration, sudden lifting, unexpected breakthroughs, supernatural openings, and God-ordained opportunities that appear out of nowhere. Because when heaven decides to make you visible, no lack of qualifications can disqualify you. No past mistakes can discredit you. No human opinion can stop you, and no spiritual attack can limit you. And the level you are stepping into will expose why the enemy attacked you so much. He saw this moment long before you did. He recognized the greatness in you long before you believed it. He detected the oil you carry long before you understood its weight, and he sensed the magnitude of your star long before you knew you were chosen. But his anxiety was prophetic, for everything he feared is coming to pass. You are rising, you are shining, you are breaking through, you are stepping into your divine identity, and you are walking boldly into the purpose God ordained for you. And this rising will not stop halfway, it will not be interrupted, it will not be reversed, it will not be sabotaged, and it will not be slowed down, because God Himself is carrying you through this phase, pushing you forward, elevating you higher, and establishing you in places where your star can shine without resistance, without interference, and without fear of being dimmed again. And as your star climbs higher, you will realize that everything that once caused you pain was actually preparing you for purpose. Everything that once caused you delay was actually building your spiritual stamina. Everything that once caused you tears was watering the seeds of your future. And everything that once broke you was actually shaping the vessel God needed you to become, because the vessel you are now is stronger than the vessel you were before the battles, wiser than the vessel you were before the storms, more resilient than the vessel you were before the delays, more discerning than the vessel you were before the betrayals, and more spiritually grounded than the vessel you were before the warfare intensified, because God used everything: the pain, the silence, the waiting, the tears, the confusion, the spiritual pressure, and the emotional stretching to shape a version of you that could carry the weight of the glory He is releasing now. And the enemy's attacks were loud, but God's preparation was louder, deeper, stronger, and more strategic. For the enemy fought the version of you that was still growing, but he never anticipated the version of you that would emerge after the pruning, the crushing, the breaking, and the refining. And now the version of you rising is one that darkness fears, one that demons avoid, one that witchcraft cannot penetrate, one that curses cannot attach to, one that altars cannot manipulate, one that enemies cannot defeat, and one that heaven proudly endorses. And the rising of your star is not simply a return to where you were, it is an ascension into realms you have never touched, an elevation into environments you have never accessed, and a promotion into divine responsibilities you have never fulfilled, because God is expanding you, enlarging your territory, increasing your influence, and multiplying your impact. For your destiny, star was never meant to shine in small places. It was designed to shine in territories, shine in nations, shine in assignments that outlive you, and shine in ways that will touch people you may never personally meet. And this rising comes with clarity about who you are, clarity about what you carry, clarity about your assignment, clarity about your authority, clarity about your spiritual identity, and clarity about the path ahead. Because when God lifts a star, He does not let it wander blindly. He guides it with divine direction, with strategic positioning, and with steps ordered by heaven itself. And in this chapter, you will walk differently. You will walk with purpose, walk with confidence, walk with discernment, walk with strength, walk with peace, and walk with the inner knowing that you are chosen, protected, empowered, and covered. Because your rising is not happening by luck, but by divine orchestration. And the very things that once destabilized your spirit will now be stepping stones to your next level. The disappointments that once broke you will now build you. The delays that once discouraged you will now discipline you. The betrayals that once wounded you will now strengthen you. And the attacks that once terrified you will now testify of your victory. Because everything that happened was part of the script that leads to your rising. And now that your star is shining again, even brighter than before, God is causing people you don't know to speak your name in rooms you've never entered, causing opportunities you never imagined to rise toward you, causing blessings you didn't expect to chase you down, and causing divine helpers you've never met to locate you, not by accident, but by spiritual command. For when a destiny star rises, it sends a signal into the atmosphere, a heavenly frequency that calls forth what belongs to you, summons what God ordained for you, awakens what has been dormant, and pulls toward you everything that was delayed. And now your destiny is drawing what is yours, attracting what aligns with you, repelling what opposes your purpose, and magnetically pulling into your life everything heaven allocated to your journey. And this rising is not happening slowly, it is happening with divine speed, divine momentum, divine force, divine fire, and divine certainty. Because what took years before will take months now. What took months before will take weeks now. And what took weeks before will take days now. For you have entered a prophetic acceleration where the hand of God is pushing you forward faster than your fears, faster than your doubts, faster than your enemies, and faster than anything that once held you down, and the places you once struggled to reach, you will now enter with ease. The doors you once knocked on, you will now see open by themselves. The opportunities you once chased will now chase you, and the breakthroughs you once cried for will now be delivered into your hands, because your destiny star has been restored to its rightful brightness, and nothing can dim it again. Nothing can stop it again, nothing can bury it again, and nothing can silence it again, and every tongue that rose against you is silenced. Every weapon that formed against you is broken. Every plan that plotted against you is cancelled, and every force that fought you is judged. Because God has declared your rising, and when God declares, no one can protest, no darkness can resist, no enemy can overturn, and no situation can reverse what heaven has already stamped with divine approval. Because once heaven stamps your rising, everything in creation must align with that decree. Time must align, people must align, opportunities must align, resources must align, environments must align, circumstances must align, and even your enemies must align, not by helping you, but by being forced to watch your elevation as proof that no one can fight God and win. And now your star is entering a realm where contradiction cannot exist, where what God said overrides what the enemy planned, where what God declared overrides what people assumed, and where what God ordained overrides everything that came against you. And the same star that was mocked, fought, attacked, dimmed, and buried is now the same star that God is lifting into visibility, into prominence, into influence, into greatness, and into the fullness of its assignment. For God specializes in raising what others dismissed, blessing what others rejected, and promoting those whom others never believed in. And your life is becoming a testimony that God does not choose based on human approval. God does not bless based on public opinion, and God does not elevate based on who supports you. He blesses based on purpose, elevates based on calling, and lifts based on divine assignment. And now your rising will confuse those who thought you needed them, shock those who walked away, silence those who spoke against you, and humble those who secretly wished for your downfall, because God is showing that He alone is the lifter of men, the restorer of destinies, the awakener of stars, and the fulfiller of purpose. And as your star rises, you will notice divine speed in recovery, speed in opportunities, speed in advancement, speed in open doors, speed in spiritual growth, and speed in breakthroughs. Because God is redeeming your lost time, restoring your wasted years, and accelerating your delayed seasons, ensuring that nothing you lost will remain lost, and nothing that was taken will remain stolen. And the same God who restored Job, promoted Joseph, honored Esther, elevated Daniel, and vindicated David is restoring, promoting, honoring, elevating, and vindicating you, because the covenant that God made over your life has never expired. and the purpose He wrote concerning you has never been cancelled, paused, or forgotten. And the rising you are experiencing is not the result of chance. It is the manifestation of prayers you prayed, tears you shed, nights you endured, faith you held on to, and battles you survived. And heaven has recorded every sacrifice, every moment of perseverance, every season of endurance, every cry of surrender, and every step of faith you took when nothing made sense. And now God is responding with blessings that make sense only into the context of divine reward. And in this rising, you will no longer live in fear of attacks, fear of failure, fear of setbacks, fear of rejection, or fear of darkness, because God has broken the chains that once tied your star down, shattered the cages that once trapped your destiny, and dismantled the altars that once manipulated your path. And now you will walk with a confidence that is not arrogant but spiritual, a confidence grounded in the revelation that if God be for you, no one can be against you. And as your star intensifies in brightness, your spirit will grow in maturity, your discernment will grow in sharpness, your wisdom will grow in depth, and your faith will grow in strength, because God is preparing you for heights that require spiritual stability, emotional strength, mental clarity, and divine discipline. And your rising will take you into places your past self could not handle, into dimensions your old mindset was not ready for, into opportunities your former heart could not sustain, and into spiritual assignments your earlier foundation could not uphold. For God waited to lift you until you were prepared for the weight of the glory He is releasing now. And you will not misuse this rising. You will not sabotage this season. You will not forfeit this blessing. You will not compromise this elevation, because your battles have trained you, your wilderness has humbled you, your delays have refined you, your pain has taught you, and your journey has shaped you into a vessel that can carry honor without pride, influence without corruption, success without losing God, and visibility without losing your soul. And everything that once tempted you will lose its power over you. Everything that once confused you will lose its influence on you, and everything that once distracted you will lose its hold on you, because your star is rising into a dimension where only destiny speaks, only purpose matters, only God leads, and only the assignment ahead remains your focus. And as you rise, God will surround you with the right voices, right helpers, right mentors, right supporters, right connections, and right environments, ensuring that nothing sent to sabotage your rising will survive the atmosphere around your life. For this is the rising that God protected you for, preserved you for, prepared you for, and positioned you for, and nothing in existence will be able to stop it, because everything God preserved you for is now unfolding in divine order, and every chapter that once felt confusing is becoming clear as your destiny star rises into the fullness of its ordained brightness. For nothing in your past was wasted. Nothing in your story was accidental. Nothing in your pain was meaningless. And nothing in your suffering was ignored by heaven. Every moment had purpose, every tear had weight, every battle had instruction, and every delay had divine timing woven into it. And now heaven is revealing why certain things had to happen the way they happened, why certain people had to leave when they left, why certain doors had to close when they closed, why certain opportunities had to wait until now, and why certain attacks had to intensify before your rising. Because your rising is not a small rise, it is a destiny rise, a generational rise, a prophetic rise, and a spiritual rise that required maturity, strength, wisdom, and deep foundations that only the journey could develop. And now that your foundation is firm, God is building on it a destiny so glorious that even those who never believed in you will be forced to acknowledge that your rising is divine, undeniable, unstoppable, and unexplainable by human reasoning. And the people who once underestimated you will soon realize that they misjudged a child of destiny. The people who overlooked you will realize they ignored someone appointed by heaven. And the people who doubted you will realize they misread someone whose star carries covenant weight. For the glory coming upon your life is not ordinary glory. It is the kind of glory that announces purpose, attracts destiny, helpers, repels hidden enemies, exposes pretenders, and reveals the hand of God without you having to say a word. And as your star rises, the atmosphere around you will shift. Conversations will shift, relationships will shift, opportunities will shift, perspectives will shift, and even your internal world will shift as you step into the version of yourself God always knew you would become. and everything about you will begin to align with the rising. Your thoughts will align, your decisions will, your behavior will align, your discipline will align, your focus will align, your speech will align, and your spirit will align with the greatness that is unfolding within you. For God is not just lifting your destiny, He is elevating your mind, upgrading your vision, refining your character, increasing your capacity, and preparing you to steward the influence and visibility that your rising will demand. And you will notice a holy confidence rising within you. Not arrogance, not pride, but a spiritual assurance that comes from knowing that God has chosen you, God has approved you, God has strengthened you, and God has empowered you to stand where others fell, rise where others retreated, shine where others hid, and flourish where others collapsed, because your rising was never dependent on circumstances, but on covenant. And in this season, every environment that is too small for your destiny will become uncomfortable until you leave. Every relationship that is not aligned with your rising will naturally fade. Every responsibility that no longer matches your purpose will loosen its grip. And every fear that once hindered you will crumble under the weight of the glory God has placed upon your star. And as you move forward, divine alignment will pull you into the right places, right assignments, right people, and right opportunities, because God is orchestrating every detail of your rising with precision, ensuring that nothing the enemy does can intercept the flow of your destiny. And every door God opens will stay open. Every opportunity He releases will be protected. Every blessing He sends will be secured. And every step He orders will be guarded by angels who walk with you and fight for you, because heaven is invested in your rising and has assigned spiritual forces to ensure that nothing delays you again. And the peace that will surround you in this season will be supernatural. A peace that silences anxiety, a peace that calms storms, a peace that strengthens your spirit, and a peace that confirms that God is in full control of your journey. For the more your star rises, the more you will feel heaven's presence, heaven's backing, heaven's covering, heaven's defense, and heaven's assurance that you were always meant to shine, you were always meant to rise, and you were always meant to walk in the fullness of the destiny written for you. And this rising will not end until everything God promised becomes reality, until every prophecy spoken over your life manifests, until every area of your life reflects His glory, and until your journey stands as a testimony that God truly lifts, restores, vindicates, strengthens, and establishes those who trust in Him. Because your destiny star is not rising halfway, not rising partially, not rising weakly, it is rising in fullness, in power, in glory, and in the exact measure God ordained before you were born, and nothing in existence can stop what heaven has begun. And as your star continues to ascend, every limitation that once held you is breaking permanently. Every cycle that once trapped you is collapsing instantly. Every barrier that once slowed you is being shattered, and every spiritual force that once opposed you is losing its influence with total finality, because the elevation God is releasing now is too divinely enforced for any darkness to interfere. And as you rise higher, the things that once troubled you will lose meaning. The situations that once stressed you will become small. The fears that once intimidated you will disappear, and the doubts that once whispered against your purpose will fall silent under the roar of God's voice inside your spirit. For God is awakening your inner strength, awakening your inner authority, awakening your inner identity, and awakening your inner fire so that you walk boldly into everything that once seemed unreachable. And as your star intensifies in brightness, your spiritual senses will sharpen. Your discernment will become keener, your intuition will become stronger, your awareness will become clearer, and your ability to detect deception, sabotage, manipulation, and hidden agendas will become effortless, because God will no longer allow you to be blindsided by people or situations that do not align with your purpose. And in this rising, God is cutting off every destiny-draining voice, removing every energy-sapping connection, silencing every witchcraft projection, and destroying every spirit assigned to monitor, delay, or frustrate you. For this rising requires purity of atmosphere, clarity of environment, and protection of trajectory. And heaven will ensure that anyone not assigned to walk with you in this phase will simply fall away. Doors not meant for you will close automatically. Relationships not aligned with your destiny will fade peacefully, and paths not ordained for your rising will become invisible to you. because God is removing every possibility of misdirection and ensuring that your star rises in a straight divine line without deviation. And the more your star rises, the more you will see the supernatural hand of God at work in small details, and in major breakthroughs, in unexpected blessings and in sudden favor, in quiet guidance and in loud miracles, all reminding you that your rising is under the supervision of the Almighty. And as you ascend, expect divine reversals. What was meant to break you will bless you. What was meant to embarrass you will elevate you. What was meant to delay you will accelerate you. And what was meant to destroy you will become the foundation of your greatest testimony. For God is not only lifting you, He is rewriting your story, reshaping your narrative, and restoring everything that was stolen, lost, broken, or damaged by the battles of your past. And this rising will not only affect you, it will affect your bloodline, your future generations, your household, your environment, and everyone spiritually connected to your destiny. For your rising carries generational impact and long-term spiritual influence. And because your star carries generational assignment, God has placed a shield around your life, a fire around your destiny, a wall around your purpose, and a covering of glory around your rising, so that nothing will tamper with your next level. And as you continue to rise, your confidence in God will deepen, your worship will intensify, your prayer life will strengthen, your faith will mature, your calling will clarify, and your identity will stabilize until you walk as the vessel heaven designed, unstoppable, unshakable, unmovable, and unmistakably chosen. And the more your star shines, the more darkness will flee, not because you fight harder, but because your presence becomes too drenched in glory for darkness to resist. And you will begin to notice that atmospheres shift when you enter, conversations shift when you speak, hearts shift when you pray, and situations shift when you declare, because your rising is awakening a spiritual authority within you that you never realized you carried. And this authority is not man-made, not self-created, not learned through theory. It was forged in the fire, formed in the storm, shaped in the struggle, deepened in the waiting, perfected in the pain, and activated in the moments you thought you would break, but held on to God anyway. And now the glory resting on your star is proof that you survived the refining season, conquered the testing season, and qualified for the revealing season. Because God never reveals what He has not refined. And in this revealing season, everything connected to your destiny star will shine, your gifts will shine, your voice will shine, your influence will shine, your calling will shine, your purpose will shine, your presence will shine, and your life will shine with a divine radiance that no one will be able to deny. Because the radiance of your destiny star is not merely a sign of recovery, it is a sign of dominion, a sign of authority, a sign of spiritual maturity, and a sign that heaven has transitioned you from surviving to ruling, from enduring to influencing, from hiding to manifesting, and from waiting to walking boldly in your divine assignment. And this new brightness you carry will draw the right people, repel the wrong people, expose the hidden enemies, attract divine connections, and shift your entire spiritual atmosphere into alignment with the purpose God ordained. And the more your star rises, the more you will understand why God separated you from certain circles, removed you from certain environments, blocked certain relationships, and shut certain doors. Because where He is taking you, not everyone could follow, not everyone could understand, not everyone could handle your rising, and not everyone could walk beside someone carrying a destiny as heavy as yours. And God, in His wisdom, protected your rising by pruning your surroundings, even when you didn't understand it, even when it hurt, even when it felt like loss, because He knew that isolation was necessary for elevation, separation was necessary for preparation, and solitude was necessary for transformation. And it was in those lonely places that God built you, shaped you, tested you, purified you, healed you, and refined you until you became the version of yourself that could handle His glory without collapsing, His blessings without forgetting Him, His assignments without hesitating, and His elevation without pride. And now that your foundations are secure, God is releasing you into arenas where your voice will carry weight, where your presence will command respect, where your purpose will create impact, and where your destiny star will shine in a way that cannot be ignored, hidden, dimmed, or silenced by any force of darkness. And as your star keeps rising, your discernment will operate at a level where deception cannot enter, Distractions cannot survive, confusion cannot influence, and manipulation cannot remain, because God is sharpening your inner eyes to see beyond the surface, beyond the words, beyond the actions, and into the spiritual truths of every situation. And this new dimension will make you immune to the strategies that once overwhelmed you, immune to emotional traps, immune to spiritual interference, immune to negative atmospheres, immune to hidden attacks, and immune to the old cycles that once drained your strength and stole your peace. And the more you rise, the more heaven will trust you, with more influence, more responsibility, more impact, more wisdom, more revelation, more spiritual authority, because God always entrusts greatness to those who have been proven through fire. And you, having gone through fire and not burned, having gone through floods and not drowned, having gone through storms and not destroyed, are now ready to handle the weight of what God has been preparing for you all these years, and everything the enemy used to try to break you, every setback, every betrayal, every heartbreak, every disappointment, every spiritual attack is now being rewritten by heaven into a testimony of victory that will shake atmospheres, encourage hearts, strengthen believers, and remind the world that God still lifts those who trust Him. And because of your rising, the enemy's kingdom is trembling, because the person they assumed was weak is now powerful. The person they thought would quit is now unstoppable. The person they believed was forgotten is now divinely spotlighted. And the destiny they fought so violently is now rising with a force they can no longer counter. And the brightness coming out of your life is not just for today, it is for your future, your legacy, your lineage, and your God-ordained influence on the earth. For your rising will outlive you, outshine the battles you faced, and outrun the lies spoken against you, because what God is doing now is establishing a legacy of light that no darkness will erase. And as you walk through this rising, miracles will become normal, breakthroughs will become expected, favor will become consistent, clarity will become natural, and progress will become unstoppable. Because God's hand is on you, God's fire is around you, God's angels are assigned to you, and God's glory is overshadowing every step you take. And nothing you face in the future will compare to the glory God is revealing in your life now. No storm will shake you, no attack will intimidate you, no setback will stop you, no voice will discourage you, and no enemy will overpower you, because the version of you that is rising is too strong, too grounded, too anointed, too protected, and too chosen to ever return to the level of warfare that once overwhelmed you. And your star will continue to ascend until every promise becomes reality, every prophecy becomes fulfillment, every prayer becomes manifestation, and every tear becomes harvested blessing, because God has decreed it, heaven has enforced it, and nothing can stop a destiny. Star God Himself has commanded to shine. Because when God commands your destiny star to shine, it doesn't rise timidly, quietly, or secretly. It rises with authority, rises with certainty, rises with weight, rises with divine backing, and rises with a spiritual force that no human, no spirit, no altar, no curse, no jealousy, no monitoring power, and no demonic system can oppose. Because this rising is not powered by effort, but by covenant. Not powered by ambition, but by purpose. Not powered by luck, but by divine prophecy that has matured into manifestation. And as your star keeps ascending, it will illuminate areas of your life that were once in shadow, revealing hidden strengths, exposing suppressed abilities, awakening dormant gifts, and unlocking new capacities within you that you didn't even know existed. Because God is showing you that your potential was never the problem, your environment was. And now that He has shifted your atmosphere, purified your foundation, removed old burdens, and broken ancient spiritual limitations, the greatness inside you is rising effortlessly, naturally, powerfully, and undeniably, because the atmosphere around your star is finally clean enough for your destiny to breathe and expand. And the people who once questioned your value, doubted your calling, or dismissed your efforts will stand in awe as God uses you in ways they never imagined, not to get revenge, not to prove a point, but to demonstrate His sovereignty over your life. For He lifts whom He chooses, blesses whom He chooses, and shines through whom He chooses, and He chose you before the foundations of the world. And this is why every attack against you failed, every trap collapsed, every plot backfired, every conspiracy unraveled, and every weapon misfired, because heaven had already decided that your star must shine again. And when heaven decides, hell cannot disagree. And now your rising will operate like a spiritual magnet, pulling destiny-aligned opportunities toward you, pulling resources toward you, pulling helpers toward you, pulling breakthrough toward you, and pulling favor toward you, because your star has entered an activated dimension where everything meant for you begins moving in your direction with supernatural speed. And not only is your star rising, it is stabilizing, meaning the elevation coming now will not collapse under pressure, collapse under attacks, collapse under setbacks, or collapse under spiritual interference, because God Himself is reinforcing, sealing, and securing your rising with layers of glory, layers of fire, layers of divine protection, and layers of angelic assistance that make it impossible for darkness to interfere. And as your star rises higher, it will silence inner battles that once tormented you, the fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of disappointment, fear of not being enough, fear of repeating past mistakes. All of these fears will bow to the new confidence, clarity, assurance, and inner strength God is birthing within you. And this confidence will not be based on ego, but on revelation. The revelation that God has chosen you, strengthened you, preserved you, fought for you, lifted you, and sealed your destiny with a purpose that hell cannot rewrite. And as you walk in this revelation, your mindset will shift. You will think like someone chosen, speak like someone chosen, move like someone chosen, pray like someone chosen, and respond like someone chosen, because your identity is aligning with your destiny. And the internal shift will create external results that even your enemies will be unable to deny. And every area of your life that once felt stuck will begin to move again. Every area that felt blocked will open. Every area that felt dry will overflow. Every area that felt delayed will accelerate. And every area that felt hopeless will shine with divine possibility. Because God is breathing life into everything connected to your assignment. And as your star climbs higher, the spiritual attacks that once troubled you will become ineffective, powerless, irrelevant, and incapable of reaching your new altitude, because you are rising above the level where those battles operate, rising above low atmospheres, rising above low frequencies, rising above low spiritual resistance, rising above low voices, rising above low environments, and rising into the realm where only those who carry divine purpose can stand. And the glory that will surround you in this new dimension will speak louder than any words you could ever speak, louder than any argument you could ever make, and louder than any explanation you could ever give, because when God elevates a person, the evidence becomes louder than the story. And in this elevation, people will begin to honor you differently, listen to you differently, treat you differently, approach you differently, and see you differently, because your rising will change not only your environment, but how your environment responds to you. And the peace you will feel in this new phase will be so deep, so unshakable, and so supernatural that you will wonder how you ever lived without it. Because the same God who lifted your star is also lifting your spirit into perfect rest, perfect stability, and perfect alignment. And everything that is unfolding now is only the beginning, a taste of the glory coming, a glimpse of the future ahead, and a preview of the destiny awaiting you, because your star will keep rising, keep shining, keep expanding, keep intensifying, and keep breaking through barriers until every prophecy spoken over your life becomes a visible, undeniable, irrefutable reality before the world. Because your destiny star has entered a phase where nothing can remain small about you anymore. Not your vision, not your influence, not your opportunities, not your anointing, not your purpose, not your confidence, not your spiritual sensitivity, not your divine impact, for God is enlarging everything about your life to match the magnitude of the destiny He has placed inside you. And this enlargement is not accidental, not random, not partial, and not temporary. It is intentional, prophetic, generational, and permanent, because you are stepping into the version of yourself that heaven has been cultivating through every season, every battle, every prayer, every tear, every disappointment, and every triumph. And this version of you will carry a spiritual weight that causes darkness to scatter at your presence, causes strongholds to break when you pray, causes atmospheres to shift when you speak, and causes divine opportunities to open when you move. Because your rising is not just about being seen, it is about being spiritually enthroned in the realm where your destiny operates, and now the authority you carry is not borrowed. It is earned through obedience, earned through endurance, earned through purity, earned through faith, and earned through the spiritual battles you survived. And this authority will make you walk in places you were once denied, stand in places you were once excluded from, receive what you were once disqualified for, and influence what you were once ignored in. Because the God who lifts you is rewriting every limitation, reversing every denial, undoing every rejection, and reconstructing your entire story according to his original design. And as your star rises, pay attention to the divine shifts in your life, shifts in how you think, shifts in how you speak, shifts in how you pray, shifts in what you tolerate, shifts in what you pursue, shifts in who you allow near your spirit, shifts in how you respond to problems, and shifts in what you accept as truth, because your rising demands maturity, demands boundaries, demands wisdom, demands alignment, and demands spiritual discipline. And God is strengthening you in all these areas so that nothing in this new dimension overwhelms you, surprises you, destabilizes you, or distracts you, because he has not brought you this far for you to be shaken by old battles dressed in new disguise. And as you grow, new doors will open, doors that were once invisible, once inaccessible, once impossible. But now these doors will swing wide because your light has reached the level required to activate them, and every door heaven opens will reveal another layer of your destiny, another stage of your influence, another level of your calling, and another chapter of the purpose God has assigned to your life. And with each door that opens, God will position you with people whose spirits align with your assignment, people who carry keys to realms you must enter, people who speak the language of your purpose, people who can support the weight of your rising, and people who recognize the oil on your life without jealousy, competition, manipulation, or hidden agendas. And the relationships that form in this season will be destiny connections, not emotional attachments. Connections empowered by God, nurtured by purpose, sustained by honor, and protected by angels, because God is removing the risk of wrong associations, wrong influences, and wrong connections, so that nothing corrupts the purity of your rising. And you will also notice that those who secretly wished for your downfall will grow strangely quiet, strangely distant, strangely troubled, and strangely uncomfortable, not because you attacked them, but because your rising exposes their motives, your elevation reveals their hearts, your growth highlights their intentions, and your light becomes too bright for their hidden darkness to hide in. And God himself will handle those who attempted to sabotage you, not through your revenge, but through his justice, not through your anger, but through his judgment, not through your strength, but through his sovereignty. Because God defends the destiny he ordains, and every trap they laid will become their own snare. Every curse they spoke will return to its sender. Every word they whispered will be exposed by heaven, and every plot they planned will collapse under the power of God's intervention, because no weapon formed against your rising will ever prosper. And your life will become a mirror, reflecting God's faithfulness, a testimony to every watcher, every doubter, every enemy, and every believer that God truly lifts those who trust him, keeps those who cling to him, restores those who depend on him, and honors those who remain faithful even when their season was painful. And as you continue to ascend, your destiny star will illuminate paths for others. People who thought their own stars were dead will be revived by watching you rise. People who felt forgotten will find hope in your glow. People who were broken will find strength in your story. People who were discouraged will find faith in your testimony, and people who were lost will find direction through the light shining from your life. For the rise of a destiny star is never for one person. It is for everyone assigned to be impacted by the glory God has placed upon that star. And your life is about to influence more people, more hearts, more destinies, and more generations than you ever imagined. And this is only the beginning. Because God is not done lifting you, not done expanding you, not done revealing you, not done empowering you, and not done guiding you. For every rising has levels, dimensions, stages, and layers, and you are only stepping into the early layers of a destiny that will keep unfolding, keep expanding, keep intensifying, and keep manifesting until everything God ordained becomes visible, because the destiny God is unfolding in your life is far greater than anything you have seen, imagined, dreamed, or prayed for, and the rising of your star is only the first sign of a divine journey that will keep ascending until God has fully displayed His glory through your story. And as this rising continues, you will notice that even battles are changing. The attacks that once came to destroy you will now serve as confirmation of your elevation. The storms that once came to drown you will now come to reveal your authority. And the challenges that once overwhelmed you will now expose the strength God has deposited inside you, because elevation changes confrontation, and the higher your star climbs, the more powerless your enemies become. And the reason many things will no longer trouble you is because God has shifted you from survival mode to dominion mode. You are no longer fighting to stay alive. You are now operating to fulfill purpose, to claim territory, to influence environments, to shift atmospheres, to break generational cycles, and to establish spiritual realities that align with heaven's decree over your life. And now your presence in any environment becomes a spiritual statement. Darkness knows you have arrived. Demonic forces recognize the oil on you. Spiritual gates identify your authority, and atmospheres respond to your assignment, because your rising has moved you into a level of spiritual stature that cannot be ignored. And the reason your star shines with such force is because it is powered by divine encounters, refined through trials, fueled by prayer, strengthened by faith, purified by fire, and sustained by the presence of God, giving it a glow that is not natural but supernatural, not ordinary but extraordinary, not temporary but eternal. And as this star rises, your voice will begin to carry impact, not because you speak loudly, but because spiritual realms recognize the authority behind your words. For your voice has been purified by pain, sharpened by valleys, matured by trials, and anointed by God Himself. And when you speak, things will shift, not out of emotion, but out of spiritual command, not out of fear, but out of understanding, not out of desperation, but out of revelation, because you will speak as someone who knows who they are, who they belong to, what they carry, and what God has ordained. And as this new authority flows through you, even the things you once questioned about yourself will become clear. The uniqueness of your journey, the intensity of your battles, the weight of your tears, the depth of your calling, and the pattern of your life will all make sense as God reveals to you that the pressure you endured was preparing you for the glory about to manifest. And when God reveals the magnitude of your assignment, you will understand why the enemy fought so aggressively, because people with small destinies do not face heavy warfare, but those whose future threatens darkness face battles designed to stop them from rising. But those battles failed, and now the very reason the enemy attacked you will become the reason God elevates you, because you survived what was meant to crush you, endured what was meant to break you, and withstood what was meant to destroy you, proving that your destiny star carries a grace hell cannot cancel. And in this season, the weight of God's hand on your life will become undeniable. You will feel led where you once felt lost, guided where you once felt confused, empowered where you once felt weak, encouraged where you once felt hopeless, and surrounded where you once felt alone, because heaven has assigned angels to accompany you in this rising, angels to protect you, angels to guide you, angels to fight for you, angels to open doors, angels to silence threats, and angels to guard your path with divine precision. And every step you take will align with divine timing. No step too early, no step too late, no move out of position, no delay out of place, because God is orchestrating your path with supernatural order, ensuring that everything unfolds exactly when it should for maximum impact. And this rising will reveal new abilities in you, the strength to lead where you once followed, the power to heal where you once hurt, the grace to lift others where you once struggled, the wisdom to navigate spiritual realms where you once stumbled, and the boldness to confront situations you once feared. And you will begin to notice that nothing about you is the same. Your thoughts will mature, your emotions will stabilize, your spirit will strengthen, your perspective will elevate, your discernment will sharpen, your discipline will increase, and your hunger for God will deepen, because rising into destiny always transforms you into the person God saw when He first wrote your name into His divine plan. And as your star continues to ascend, the testimonies that will follow you will not be small, common, or ordinary. They will be monumental, undeniable, supernatural, and unforgettable, forming a chain of divine encounters that prove repeatedly that God is not done with you, but only beginning to reveal what He always planned, because everything God has prepared for you is unfolding with the divine accuracy, and your destiny star is entering its highest frequency, its brightest wavelength, its strongest illumination, and its most powerful spiritual manifestation yet, and nothing in the natural or spiritual realm can stop the unfolding of what heaven has already released. And as this star rises into its full brightness, even the scars of your past will begin to transform into symbols of endurance, reminders of survival, and evidence of God's protection over your life, because the pain you endured did not break you. It built you, and the storms you survived did not drown you. They cleansed you, and the valleys you walked through did not bury you. They taught you. And every battle that once felt like punishment was actually preparation for this dimension of destiny. And now, as your star reaches territories it was always designed to access, doors will open before you faster than you can knock. Blessings will reach you faster than you can pray. Opportunities will find you faster than you can seek them. And miracles will manifest before you even articulate the request, because heaven has gone ahead of you to establish divine speed, divine precision, and divine orchestration in your journey. And the authority you carry in this season will cause mountains to move, obstacles to melt, enemies to scatter, and impossibilities to bow. Because the God who has lifted your star is walking with you, fighting for you, speaking through you, shining on you, and manifesting His glory through every aspect of your life. And now every area of your destiny will begin to shine, your assignments will shine, your path will shine, your purpose will shine, your giftings will shine, your influence will shine, your peace will shine, your relationships will shine, your finances will shine, your spiritual fire will shine, and even the areas where you once struggled will now carry the evidence of restoration. Because when God restores, He does not restore halfway, He restores fully, loudly, publicly, and powerfully. And the people connected to your destiny will be transformed by your rising. Those who lost hope will regain it. Those who felt weak will be strengthened. Those who were stuck will move. Those who were blind will see. And those who were broken will find healing in the testimony of your rising. Because your star is not rising for your sake alone, but for the sake of everyone your life is meant to impact. And as your star continues to ascend, the spiritual clarity God is giving you will expose every hidden scheme of darkness long before it manifests, giving you dominion over attacks before they form, wisdom over traps before they close, strength over storms before they rise, and victory over battles before they begin, because you are now walking with the advantage of divine foresight, divine protection, and divine covering that darkness cannot penetrate. And the higher you rise, the louder heaven's voice will echo in your life, guiding you, warning you, comforting you, teaching you, and positioning you for everything destined to happen next. Because God is not only lifting you for a moment, He is sustaining you for a lifetime. And your legacy will reflect the brightness of your star. It will be a legacy of breakthrough, a legacy of liberation, a legacy of spiritual authority, a legacy of victory, a legacy of divine favor, and a legacy of God's undeniable hand on your life. And as this chapter of rising reaches its climax, heaven seals your destiny with a decree that cannot be reversed. Your destiny star will not be dimmed again, it will shine forever in the name of Jesus. And as we come to the close of this prophetic release, I declare over your life that every darkness assigned to cover your star is destroyed. Every altar raised against your destiny is scattered. Every chain wrapped around your rising is broken, and every demonic voice speaking against your future is silenced by the fire of God. May the Lord go before you, behind you, within you, and above you. May His angels guard your path. May His strength fill your spirit. May His glory overshadow your destiny. And may His light mark your rising with irreversible victory. Your destiny is secured, your purpose is protected, your rising is permanent, and your star will shine without interruption, without fear, without battle, and without dimming in Jesus' mighty, unstoppable, matchless name. Amen.